Hello and welcome to my Valorant Fundamentals of Peeking and Aiming video. We're going to cover a lot of different types of peeks and several different details to peeking and aiming practice in this video. Regardless of your skill level, I think there'll be a couple tips here, whether it's a refresher or giving you some new information. If you have a friend that is new to Valorant, highly recommend this video and the accompanied ebook I'm coming out with, my details and tips guide. I will be putting timestamps down in the description. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to throw them down there, or you can check me out, Coach Doty, on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. Thanks. Hope you enjoy the video. AD strafing or counter strafing, very important concept in this game and other shooters like it. I got this drill from legendary CSGO coach Ron Rambo Kim, and I will link his video in the description. But all it basically is warming up your mechanics, working on this little mechanic, and you can use it as a training thing. I use it at the beginning of every session, and you use this beam, and you're not going to use any mouse movement. All you're going to do is use your AD strafing. So I'm going to hold D, tap A, shoot. Hold A, tap D, shoot. And I'm going to keep trying to go for these spots. And you'll see when I mess up, I'm not doing the mechanic correctly. I'm not getting that 99% accuracy. I haven't messed up yet, but I'll mess up on one. If I don't tap that D, if I overburst, I'm not going to get in this little spot. See that one right there? I messed up. So this is a really good one to warm up with, to practice with. Highly recommend. There's other higher levels to this. You could do it at a short range. You can only work on your right strafe. You can only work on your left. A lot of different ways to work on this one, but I think it's super important, and I always use it as a warm-up. Another idea, concept I always like to talk about related to aim training tips and drills is messing with your sensitivity. A lot of people believe in the age-old mantra, you pick your sensitivity, you stick with it, you find that best one. And a lot of people believe nowadays, there's a recent study on it, that is not the best idea, that changing up your sensitivity can lead to better results. One, people kind of have confirmation bias and pick a sensitivity and they're scared to leave it. And I think it's just really great to test it. So every once in a while, I'll come here, I'll hit it a couple. It is not a big deal to move it up 0.02 here. Not a huge deal. And like I said, it can end up leading to increases in performance. One other aim drill I like to always mention is aim flicks. So you can do it with this. Really trying to work on your flicks, your long flicks, your short flicks. And using these drills can be great for it. Now you can't actually throw in some AD strafing here as well, but I like to do a mixture of both. So usually I'll do one round with AD strafing and the other will just be all wrist flicks. A lot of times in this game you'll get that first kill just by good crosshair placement, crosshair efficiency, aiming at the right corners, having good map knowledge, but that second kill a lot of the times is a wrist flick. So I think that is a great mechanic to work on and practice, and it will lead to more kills and better aim. One small recommendation I always like to give: if you are struggling with overspraying, not having the discipline to aim on every shot, not having the discipline to AD strafe, I highly recommend the Guardian. As a semi-automatic gun that can one-shot people, it really rewards you for great accuracy and discipline with your shots. So you will not be able to spray with this gun. And it's just, you could use it on a couple games, you could use it as a warm-up training type of thing, but I highly recommend the Guardian for aim practice. What I call the small corner peek, so holding a really tiny corner here. Sometimes you'll just hold it here. More recently I've been liking crouching because people are always aiming for the head when they're going for corners, so I'll crouch and I'll do a little back and forth here, being ready to go. You can make it this small, you can go even crazy here because you can still get a wall bang if they back up, or you can even get a wall bang through here if they go to the left. Good jiggle peek pretty much includes counter strafing. So if I am holding over here, because if I don't counter strafe here, I'm not going to get that good accuracy. Another really important strafe mechanic thing to practice is jump strafing. Jump strafing is a good way to see your opponent, not let them snipe you. A really good sniper can get you with it, hit you on the shoulder sometimes. Basically it's going to look like this. I'm going to hold forward and my D key, and then while I'm in mid-air I'm going to release both of those and just hold my A key. You can see how far I can get back behind the wall after. One really cool trick I like to do with this is have one person do this here and the other person peeks here at the right time. So I'm going to pull out their fire, I'll be able to see my opponent, and then my teammate can step in and get a wall bang or just a shot right here. Another really important concept for peeking this game is as you're moving, you want to keep your crosshair at the angles, at the spots that are your biggest threat in order. So for example, If I'm peeking right here, I'd probably hold here to start as I'm moving. Then once I get here, I gotta hold here, then check here, then check there. At this point, I might start being a little nervous that someone's gonna come back here. So as I come back here, this would probably be the biggest threat. I check those two corners, and then I might have to come back here. Shoot, keep going. Here, still be here, still be here. Once I get right about here, I check this, and then I'd come back here. And then once I'm in here, as you can see, this one would be a really tough spot to peek because there's so many angles. But as you know the maps more and more, you'll know those order of threat angles, and it is a really important thing to be disciplined on. Another peek that I always like to cover is called the backup peek. So as you probably know, in this game, there's this thing called peeker's advantage. So if I'm running out here, a lot of times, especially if I have a better ping, I will be able to see my opponent first, and it'll almost look like I teleported across and killed them if I get them really quick. So one way to counter this is this backup peek. So if, say for example, I got one person here and one person here, rather than take this fight, get this guy, and then spin here and try and get him, I would back up peek here and rotate to my teammates. So I would be here, and the whole time I'm backing up, I'm holding this corner ready to shoot them. And I find, especially if I'm backing up left here, that this kind of counteracts that first peeker's advantage. So this is called the backup peek. I use this in a lot of different situations, and having good crosshair placement and discipline while you're backing up until you're completely ready to rotate is huge. Alright, so there are a lot of ways to work with your teammates in terms of peeking. So for example, if we're going to push this lane here, my priority would be here if I'm on the left side, so I can check this first, and then his would be checked back there. So that would be one thing we could do. We could come here and peek in order as a team. I could say right's clear. I could swing out. We could say swinging on 3. 1, 2, 3. We both swing. And so we swing at the same time so that one of us don't go down. Because if I just poke out here by myself, I get hit, then he's poking out by himself. But if we do it together, it ensures that we're going to trade, or very likely that we're going to trade with the team. We also could do a crossfire in this position to hold it. So for example, he could hop up on that box and I could hop up here. And that's another way to ensure that we're very likely going to get a trade here.
30 seconds
so here's a
left.
real life example of the uses of a jump strafe with a swing with the teammate. So watching out for this long peek, I could come up here, peek it a little bit so I could see what's there, and then he could swing right after. A lot of different ways to work on your teammates. One way is to actually come into custom
10
games like
seconds
we are right now and practice your team peeks as a squad. Another way to team peek is utilizing abilities. For example, I could use my blind here, blinding in 3, 2, 1. And then we both peek. We could also use a lot of other abilities, whether it's raises nades, whether it's Jet's different movement abilities he can pop out. That's right when I swing. Because he's using that powerful long distance ability, that's going to draw a lot of attention. And then I could swing out here, lower chance that I'm going to get shot. So a lot of different ways to use team peeking, whether it's timing up perfectly with different guns, whether it's your abilities, but it is an absolutely essential mechanic and thing to work on in this game.